Hey
Frank,
man, what's going on?
how are you, my friend?
I'm doing good. Not as good as that puppy, but I'm doing good.
This dog is doing a really admirable job of not biting this cheese out of my hand.
Ah, been up to a lot since I saw you.
Um, I don't know. I feel like I've been up to a lot.
Yeah,
Go away. Off you go. Ta-da! That's the way to get rid of a dog.
there you
Yeah, we
go.
haven't seen each other since the fall.
September in Kansas City.
Yeah, that was a great time.
It was a great time. A lot of fun.
This is Abby the dog. She's
Hey
very
Abby.
vocal. She's very
Hey
vocal
Abby.
about wanting food. She's talking to me now. She's like, "Give me some food, please. Please, can I have some food?" Off you go.
Yeah, I
What have you been up to? I
I
see your.
visited Salt Lake City's One Million Cups on their virtual thing last week.
Did you?
Yeah,
How'd that go?
it was cool. They're quite different in how they do it than we do in Colorado Springs. But
Okay.
uh, they're more. You remember we went to the Kansas City model that
Yeah.
morning?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, Salt Lake City's like that. Colorado Springs is not like that. So any entrepreneur, we don't care if you're basket weaving or
Right.
or whatever you're doing. If you fall within the entrepreneurial space, we celebrate it and we give you opportunity to speak.
Beautiful.
Most women in cup scenes are more techno heavy on the people that they allow to come in to speak. So we don't
Yeah.
have those restrictions. Yeah.
We kind of did that model too. Like if you were brave enough to start a business in Rockford, then you deserve everything. All the effort can go behind you.
Without a doubt. I think that's period, man. That goes across any sector or geographical. Starting a business is no joke. So we really
Oh.
we want to sell it. Matter of fact, we call our Women in Cups the Entrepreneurial Cup Rally.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, that's a
we
great
do.
idea.
Yeah, and we make sure that the stories, when the 6 minute, that the story is the focus, not the business. Because if you can give us a natural progression of your story and how that ended up being a passion and a business, then we can unwrap the business part in a 20-minute question and answers.
Yeah, that's a good idea because I mean, I think a business without a story is on. They're on. They're on a failing ground anyhow. I mean, you have to develop what that storyline is and be able to communicate from that, or people just will not. People won't engage over the long haul.
Not at all.
That's
I
good.
know I won't. So,
Right.
yeah, your business model is very interesting to you, but it's not very interesting to everybody else. You know what
Right.
I mean? So
Exactly. Yeah.
stop talking.
Well, I got a podcast the other day. I recorded a podcast with Bobby Herrera, who's the CEO of Populist Group. They're about a $600 million staffing agency, and he started talking. And I started interviewing because he's got a book called The Gift of Struggle.
Mm.
And my podcast is I only record with published authors, and
I don't qualify. Stop the
sorry.
camera.
You'll have to publish something.
Well, I'm in the midst of a manuscript. I got a deadline in September.
Oh,
So,
good. Are you on
yeah.
are you going to meet that deadline based on your current habits?
Mhm.
I believe you would. I think I know something about you, and that would be that you're actually going to succeed at whatever you set your mind to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he talked about he calls his he calls his business a community. He calls his employees climbers because he says the word employee doesn't mean anything, but climber does. And he celebrates tradition and story. And in fact, he says a lot of times you go to onboard an employee and you give them a list of all these disconnected things they're supposed to know, like here's where the stapler's at, and here's how they use the office machine, coffee machine. And he's like, and it's all pointless.
Yeah.
It's nonsensical stuff to actually why you're there and why you wanted to work at that business anyhow. So he has them call other offices around the country and say, hey, tell me the story about. Tell me this story. Tell me that story. And there are all these stories that the entire organization is told to remember and be able to retell as the language or the story of the organization, like where we came from, why we're here, and where we're headed. And of which the things that we do and how we get them done, tactically might change, and that coffee machine might change and the photocopier might change. Nobody cares about those anyhow. So it's just a super, super interesting outlook on story and community. And I was fascinating. So, but yeah, our 1 Million Cups, I called it an entrepreneurial support group. Because I figured that was the easiest, closest thing to what it probably was.
I totally get that. It is a support group, but ours is, average is 110 a week. So,
wow.
So it breaks out in the story and support. So it's not small enough to where that would resonate. So
right.
We're there and just cheering and cheering each other on, encouraging each other, breaking out, finding ways that we can do one-on-ones together.
Yeah.
And I don't do one-on-ones, but I do personally. We call them story swaps. So let's get together to swap some stories.
All right.
To see if there's any common ground, any place that we mesh, where I might be able to help you as far as introducing you to people, and likewise on us doing business together. Yeah.
Well, I know that you let me in on your story when we were in Kansas City, which was fascinating. I loved it. And I don't want to. I will not bestow upon you the title of what was it? What was I thinking? Like inspire, right? I don't think. So a lot of times people hear another person's story and like, oh my gosh, that really inspires me. And the reason I will not bestow upon you that is I don't want you to have to take the responsibility of being everyone's inspiration. Because I think that's not our. It's not why you went through all that. It's not why you went on your journey so that you could just be an inspiration.
It's part of it.
But that's what comes of it, right?
Yeah, it's part of it. Sure.
And I feel like I've been watching the stuff you've been doing on LinkedIn, what you call yourself now, Chief Encouragement Officer or something like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you go around all these businesses and just talk to them and have them tell their stories, which I just love the storyline from your past to your present and what you're doing with it. I love it. I think it's amazing.
Thank you.
Why did you get into that? Why did you make this shift?
From
whatever it was you were doing before to now traveling around, talking to businesses and having them film themselves standing out in front of their offices.
Well, some of it's selfish, I believe, in that no one's more bullish on the community that I live in than I am. I think Colorado Springs is one of the greatest business environments on the planet. And I think we can back it up with objectable statistics from magazines and awards and things that we have as a business environment. So, and I'll further believe that no community is any better than the success of the small businesses. So unless they make it, we don't make it.
Yeah.
So that's my small contribution to my community as far as exposure, because it doesn't matter how well you do what you do if nobody knows you're doing it, right? And small businesses don't have marketing revenue. So I do my small part to try to get them known.
How do you find the businesses? Do you just show up, or does it connect?
They find me.
Oh, they do.
After a while, yeah, because the footprint's so large, and and what's happened with their businesses after being on camera, because it's who influences your community gets an opportunity to influence it for you.
Yeah.
So they connect with me. I get numerous requests to do, and sometimes we're just sitting in a coffee shop having coffee, and people walk in, and I say, "Let's do a business class. That'll be fun."
Okay, that's good. I feel like you would do something like that, springing
I
up.
would, yeah. Yeah,
I have such
for the
respect for it.
nonprofits, we call it a community blast. Let's just do a blast. Let's get an opportunity for people to see who you are and what you guys are up
And they don't you don't charge anything for that or anything.
to.
You just do it.
Yeah.
And do people measure the response off of that, or how do you know that that's still worthwhile doing?
I don't. It's too much work. I don't have time to do that.
Right.
I really don't. You know, my measurements are not scientific at all. People come back, the feedback we get, and they tell us how more engaged people are in their businesses, how many more people they're seeing, etc. They talk to one another. That's why so many people are calling me to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a neat idea. Is that what you do full time now? I mean, what do you spend your time on?
Well, my job, I coach entrepreneurs.
Okay.
So between concept and 5 years is my niche market. If you want to carve out a niche, because I believe all three of my children are business executives in Denver. So seeing their movement really kind of naturally inclined me to want to work with young people that are starting businesses. Very excited about that. So an entrepreneur encouragement coach.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Where do you find your business?
Same way. You know, my first year, Jason, going into business, here was Frank's brilliant strategy plan, right?
I can't wait.
I said, wow, if I go out and I meet enough people, and if I become the most connected small business guy in my community, 750,000 people, and that naturally, in my mind, means that business will fall out of that. So who are they talking about? All right. So that was my business strategy.
Okay.
So the first year, that's all I did. I went to any networking group, any connection. I spoke anywhere that people would allow me to speak, all of those things. And I became incredibly known by being out and working very hard in the community to connect.
Okay. And did business follow?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
How do you charge for your services?
We try to do a sliding scale model because, as you probably know, entrepreneurs don't have money.
Yeah, they want everything and they have nothing to give.
It's a challenge, you know, it really is. So sliding scale means being able to come in at a very low entry point. And as your business grows and we have measurables, so does my fee.
And are you a for-profit or not for-profit?
I'm a for-profit.
Okay.
Sometimes I feel like a non-for-profit, but I really am a for-profit.
So true. So true.
You know the deal.
Yeah, totally do. But it's fulfilling for you, right? I mean, you love it.
Yeah. It's not only fulfilling, it's what I was put on earth to do.
Well, yeah. And do you love that, or do you find that fulfilling and the kind of your thing put on earth to do, which is profound? A lot of people never find that.
Yeah.
Do you feel that kind of came about from your origin story of kind of you were given a shot when you probably didn't deserve a shot?
Well, yeah, it definitely came from my origin story. You know, I call it leveraging your pain. If anyone that looks back on their lives, we want to run from that. You know what I mean? We don't want to remember the pain. We don't want to embrace the pain in any way. In fact, we do whatever we can to avoid that, right?
Yeah.
It's just natural human stuff, so it's no knock on anyone. But
Right.
for me, it just made sense. I had so much pain in my life, and pain is
Right.
still inevitable, and
Right.
it still comes, and it never ends totally. So
Right.
what's the meaning behind that? I can either say, why me? Or I can say, why not? Look at it, I mean, with genuine transparency and total uh, vulnerability, and say, where does that pain lead me in my process? And that's the uncovering that I've done.
Ooh, that's profound.
Oh, it
Yeah,
really is.
that is profound. The leveraging your pain.
Yes.
Yeah.
Think about it. Let me just give an instance. For instance, if I hadn't been a homeless guy,
Hmm.
if I didn't have the experience of homelessness,
Hmm.
how could I possibly leverage or have any credibility in that community?
Totally.
It works that way on a micro level as well. And anything that we do in life, your divorces, the things your kids take you through, all of the heartfelt disappointments and etc. If I was incredibly hurt, which I was not understood and I was not included in the places that I grew up in the environment that I knew. So now I am absolutely committed to including people. I'm gonna do the opposite. That's the leverage,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I'm committed to the opposite. Whatever caused me pain, I'm gonna do the reverse.
Hmm. Wow. You find strength in your pain.
I do. I
Yeah.
do. Who finds strength in success?
Right.
Right? Nobody. What lessons are learned? We just go on our merry way. We
Yep.
bankroll and we have all the security and the things. That's why no one's really inclined to take risk. Our environment is the biggest pushback to risk that I can see on earth. You know what I mean? Because we live so well. We have
Right.
such expectations and etc. And I'm not knocking it because I love living here. I had no one asked me where I wanted to be born. And I'm glad it was America.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, so it's incredible being an American.
Yeah.
But the other side of the coin is that it creates some people with not much drive, ingenuity, or passion,
Yeah.
which is sad. Because we're the ones with the resources. Can you
Right.
imagine if we connected that with passion, what we would look like?
Yeah. Once in a while you see it.
Once in a while. And that's why we read all these guys and ladies' books. That's why we
Yeah.
hold them up as celebrities.
Right.
Because if every one of us leveraged ourselves the way that we were created to, there'd be no celebrity because we'd be maxing out our own potential.
Yeah. How did you come about? So you said a really important phrase that people throw around. You said that's what I was put on earth to do.
Mhm.
How did you come about that realization, and when did that hit you?
As I say, my kids kind of inspired me because all three are much more successful than I am when you look at it from a business model. But I looked at them and went, what was the common thread around their life? Their mom and me. We're the common thread. And we don't do that to pat ourselves on the back, but it inspired me. And when I knew and I looked back on my life and took a genuine look at everything that I've been through, you
Yeah.
could see the weaving of that tapestry coming all together. I mean, it's totally, I cried a lot, hurt a lot in that process, all of those things, but you could see it begin to weave and make a beautiful tapestry of what Frank was created to do. I call it giftedness. We all have it. You know, we didn't just get thrown these things and go, "Oh my God, why me?"
Yeah.
And why did I have to land on me? I got the short end of the stick. We make so many phrases to excuse the embrace, and the opportunity.
Yeah.
So during that time, so it hasn't been that long, Jason. I'm 63 years old now. My 12th grandbaby is on the way.
Lord.
I know, right?
Good for you. That's awesome. That is really cool.
It is cool.
Yeah.
Who knew, right? A homeless dude now has almost 12 grandkids and legacy.
Yeah, I bet you never expected that from back in the day.
I wouldn't want any guy around a guy that I was like. So I'm winning my girls around a guy that I was like when I was young. So
totally.
I didn't expect any of that.
No, you are a lesson for people when people say, people can't change. Your life says differently.
No, I believe everyone changes. And, and here's the deal for me. It's not so much a change, it's much more realizing who I was. I was living something totally different than who I am. Right?
Right. No, I think you're absolutely right. That's what the key is. It's not that you change. It's that what I've been telling people or been thinking about myself, because I've been through some profound changes in the past, let's say 4 years, but probably sandwiched into the past year, and really a lot of it in the past couple months. But I feel like it's really a process of wearing off the calluses, because we use ourselves, we use who we are, and we just develop these calluses in just weird ways, and they don't belong there. It's not life. It's death. It's sitting on the surface, and it's flaking away, and then through circumstances or choices or some sort of process external to us, and combined with our movement internally, our desire, I think all of a sudden those calluses start getting cut away, and then eventually you come down to this life, and you're like, oh my God, that's my life. That's me. And it wasn't this other stuff that just keeps flaking away.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, you're still the homeless guy internally. Like the guy, who you are as an individual and the things that your personality and your spirit and those types of things, but it just was not. It was covered up. It was covered up with a bunch of shit on top that didn't belong.
Yep.
And then somebody saw in you through it. Right? I mean, that's the truth of it. Somebody saw through that stuff, and that's like, no. They called to Frank. They didn't look at the surface. They called to Frank underneath all that stuff, and like, hey, Frank, come forth.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh my God, what an amazing story! I'm not kidding you, man. I'm fascinated by it because there's so many people who just struggle, and they know they're not. They know they're covered up under all that stuff, and they refuse to move. And other people refuse to see through it, and I think that's a shame too.
Yeah, that's the pain part. They won't face it.
Yeah,
won't own it. You know what I mean? And when you don't do that, you can't. Yeah, the guy that came to the park and picked me up or rescued me, if you will, took me home with him. I call it he saw beyond the obvious.
Yeah.
Obvious was a dirty, filthy, homeless guy that most people wouldn't have spat on if he had been on fire.
Yeah.
But he saw, and that takes some unique intuition.
Yeah.
To be able to look beyond the obvious, because it's easy to look at the obvious. And I think it's very lazy to look at the obvious too, because it takes investment, because people are messy. It takes time, and it takes diving into the mess. Who wants to do that?
Yeah. What a fascinating journey, really.
Yeah.
For you, and how you're paying it forward is just it is remarkable. And I told you, like, I don't want to bestow upon you the responsibility of being an inspiration, because I know you do it. I know you do it because it gives you life. That's who you are. And if you start doing it for everybody else, you might have a tendency to get a little twisted over time. But you you are genuinely just paying forward your life. And it's unique. That's why I say it's remarkable. It stands out. Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to the day when it's not unique, Jason. I really am.
Yeah.
I mean, in people's life, because it's so freeing. We think that if we make millions of dollars that we're free, or, own stuff for free. The truth is, we don't have to look very far to know that that's a false narrative.
Yeah.
For people. It just isn't true. And is there anything wrong with all that stuff? No, nothing at all, as long as it doesn't have you. You can have it, but it needs not have you. So that's how I look at life right now. I'm incredibly blessed. Nobody's calling me trying to repossess some stuff, even though my car was stolen last Monday.
At least you're laughing about it.
Yeah, I guess they repossessed it even though I owned it. I don't know. I guess that was motive. So now my car's gone, dude. So that was kind of a trip. It really was. What else could I do but laugh?
Right? New experience.
It is crazy. We live in a crazy world. We do. One day, way back in the day, I never done anything like that. But who knows what I would have done?
Yeah.
If someone hadn't invested in me.
Right.
That background was exactly set up for who Frank would have become.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. What you gonna do? So I hope I get my car back.
Well, see, that's like a first world problem, right? I mean, it's like you're like, somebody stole my car. I had enough money to buy a car and insurance on it, so that even if I don't get it back, like suddenly I get a new car. Like, you can't do too much bitching.
That's the perspective, man.
Yeah.
What's the lesson in this new thing I'm being taught here? What I mean? That I need to be driving a nicer car.
Right. Yeah. Careful what you complain about.
Exactly.
I love, so one of the things that stands out to me from your story line is you said it, no one would respect you if you had not had your story. The stuff the way you can make a specific impact today was stuff that happened years and years and years ago. Mm-hmm. And you also, it seems, have taken an approach that a lot of people don't. You've reevaluated your experiences to figure out what is being woven together. A lot of people just live in, I mean, I don't want to knock living in the moment. I think we should live in that moment, but without the benefit of evaluated experience, I think we leave ourselves devoid of connection and energy and authority in the moment, because we don't know where we came from, and we don't know how we got there, and we don't know all the strength that we actually have today.
Brilliantly put, Jason. What can I add to that brilliance? I mean, really.
Try.
That was brilliantly put. You said it so well. It was like, it's incredibly right.
Trip wisdom, Frank. Trip wisdom. Oh my God.
It's almost like driving somewhere on a long journey. You get there and you don't even know why you're there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
totally.
you missed everything all the way, and you don't even know why. You get out of your vehicle or get off the plane, you look around and say, why am I here?
Yeah.
What is this going to do? What's the meaning behind it? When people don't look at their story, that's exactly what their destination looks like. They don't know why they're there.
Yeah.
So,
what did you do to keep hope in the meantime?
And between homelessness and now?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
That's 37 years ago. So
I know.
I did a lot of stuff.
It's been a long time, right? But I know for a fact, I know for a fact that there were times in your life that you lost or you weren't sure, is this all adding up? Is this going anywhere? And I'm guessing that you didn't, look at the future and say, I'm going to be 63 years old. I'm going to have my 12th grandchild on the way. I'm going to have my fantastic car stolen so I can get another one. It was never, it wasn't that hope filled. So how did you keep your sanity about you sometimes when the story doesn't look like it's adding up when you're reading page by page?
Well, sometimes I didn't.
Okay.
Just like everyone else, it was overwhelming to me. I didn't know.
Yeah.
It made no sense. Why is the longest and shortest question in every book? Right?
Yeah.
It really is, because we all ask that question. Why? I don't see any point in this, and that's
Yeah.
why we get all the racial tension. That's why we get all, because we get so full of whys.
Yeah.
Nobody's asking why not. So I dealt with it. Some good I dealt with. I went through a divorce at 20 years from my kid's mom. I'm remarried. My wife is Michelle now. This is our 14th year of being married. So, and my first marriage, I would have left me.
Well, that's insight.
You know what I mean? So the average story is people don't come to terms, they're not honest with that. They'll tell you everything the other person did badly.
Right.
How they screwed up, almost like they had no responsibility for the breakup at all. Right? Isn't that what we're accustomed to hearing?
Yep.
That's incredibly dishonest.
Right.
It really is. And that's why people don't have forward movement, because the moment dishonesty becomes the narrative, the story stops.
Did you say the moment dishonesty becomes the narrative, the story stops?
Absolutely.
Walk me through that.
Well, think about it. You've got a dishonest space in your life. It's not, humans don't process dishonesty rightly, because we weren't made to be dishonest. The right narrative is that we're honest about it, deal with it, and move on. Something in our psyche, in our hearts, if you will, stops when we don't deal honestly with that pain, those points in time.
Yeah.
But we make it someone else's deal.
Yeah.
We don't want it. Something stops in that growth. Yeah. So I can't unwrap it in such a practical way that everyone can just read and say, let me do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There's nothing universal to that.
No.
Yeah, your story is totally unique to mine and totally unique to somebody else's. But the principle, I think, resonates. It can, I think, resonate with a person's heart until they become so tight and hard that their heart doesn't resonate anymore.
And then you see it. And what's the outcome of that?
Yeah.
Lots of bad stuff.
Totally.
That's what we're dealing with. If you want to break it down to its most minute level, that's what we're dealing with in humanity.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. So picking up from that point of, dishonesty causes the story to stop. So the antidote to that, or the way to move past it, in your experience, you went through this divorce, and you say you would have left yourself, and that's pretty honest.
Yeah.
So how did that realization hit you? When did that realization hit you? And how did you move through it?
Between, my wife and I broke up. First year, my kids wouldn't speak to me because I wouldn't defend myself. So I never said anything negatively about my ex-wife to anyone. Okay. Michelle, my wife now, knows nothing negatively about my ex-wife. That's why they can cooperate and have a friendship. That was the aha moment for me, Jason. When I went, I can go through this process, as painful as it is, and not deflect blame onto someone else. And I'm feeling better about that than I would have been the other way. There's something to this.
Yeah.
This incredible honesty that a human can live in. I mean, Well,
Yeah.
we have to give ourselves grace anyway, so we might as well give ourselves grace for truth instead of grace for a lie.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Well, isn't that the story? You'd rather have, what was it? You'd rather have, you'd rather be hated for the truth than love for a lie.
Love for a lie. Yeah. So that was about 15 years ago when that realization came to me. Because I was an
Wow.
incredibly dishonest person. Even after the rescue from the park and etc.
Yeah.
My old guy, who I thought I was still dominant in my life. So
Sure.
I did and said whatever I needed to get through.
Yeah.
And I set an incredibly horrible example for my children as well. I still pay the price for some of that
Yeah.
today, but I own it.
And that's the key. Yeah.
Yep. That's the key.
You are a wise man. I know
I'm
you
the
know
oldest.
that.
Excuse me?
I know you know that. And I don't
Well,
mean, and I know that, and that doesn't mean owning our wisdom, owning the lessons, is not a point of pride in a bad way, right? But you know what's up. I tell people, I think I can't remember what I said, something like, this has cost me dearly. I expect the world to benefit from it. It's like,
that's good. I love it. I love it. Yeah, you say some incredible stuff, Jason.
I mean, it would be like paying for a college education that you never get a return on.
Exactly.
It's like I paid for all sorts of shit.
The only reason we even go to school is so that we can learn how to learn.
Yeah. So all the things that we pay for through life, either, which is not the money parts of it, but the things we pay through life, which is our experiences and our emotion, our availability, our vulnerability, all that stuff, is so incredibly valuable because it took life to make that.
It does.
There's no other way it comes about.
No
It
other
is
way.
only life and the experiences and then the reevaluation of those experiences, which causes that to become value.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
and is the acknowledgement of it, and then owning the strength that comes from it too.
Yes, I do. Yeah. And people ask me all the time, why are you so confident? I don't know. I don't. Some of the things that you have to answer in my space is like so uncomfortable. I'm telling you, it really is so uncomfortable for me anyway. I don't know.
Right.
Maybe someone else would do it a lot better.
What'd you tell him?
Huh?
Why? What did you tell him? Why are you so confident?
Well, I know me. I know how jacked up I am. I consider every human being that walks the earth jacked up. Everyone. There's not one that's not. So, so I'm not fearful of any other human because I know behind anything that they present to me, they're jacked up, just like I am.
Yep.
And knowing that gives me the confidence to be able to communicate and connect with anyone at any level.
Yeah. I had a guy ask me, he took me out for coffee once, and I'd worked with him for a couple of years and helped him out in his business and stuff. And he asked me, how did you do all the things that you did, or how'd you accomplish the things you do? And like, well, why do you walk around with that, the air or whatever you walk around with? And at the time, the reason that came to my mind was I said the rules were all made up. And eventually I realized that the rules were all made up by people like you and me. And so why don't I have the right to make up the rules? And that means I can change things. I can change me, and I can change the stuff around me. And it was like a revelation to him.
Yeah.
Because so many people just kind of walk around in the paradigm that they don't have, I don't know, that they're just stuck. They're stuck in the mundane. They're stuck in the day-to-day. They're stuck in the job. They're stuck in the relationships. They're stuck in the stuck. And it seems that, they don't develop the confidence of their own knowledge and wisdom and character and use that to move and change and affect. and then they don't walk into the space you're in, which is like, and I was put on the planet for this.
Yep.
And that's a shame.
Doesn't it make sense to you, Jason? Because it makes so much incredible sense to me. If I am an original, it's just for me. There's no other Frank. I mean, that's scientifically proven, psychologically proven. It's proven in every arena of life. And if that's true, doesn't it make sense if I'm an original, no other me, that there's a reason I'm here?
Right.
I mean, think about that.
Yeah.
How can that not be the case? So when I tell humans that I meet every day, you know what? I know I just met you, but can I tell you just how amazing and incredible you are? That you are just, if I could see the power that you hold, the innate greatness that you have inside of you, what is burning to come out of you, I'd be tempted, as C.S. Lewis says, to bow down and worship.
Yeah.
That's the incredibleness of a human.
Mm-hmm.
We discount that all the time. People are always apologizing for their awesomeness.
Right.
That doesn't make any sense to me. What?
Right.
Yeah,
Totally.
You're awesome. Of course you are. If you never accomplished one thing on earth, you would be the most incredible you that there is on earth.
Yeah. It is a shame. Yeah, it's a shame that people don't understand that and walk around in that.
They don't.
But
Go ahead.
Sometimes nobody ever told them that.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes people did tell them that and they weren't prepared to hear it. And sometimes they are currently going through or have just gone through something where they've not reconciled that. They've not evaluated to understand that though your circumstances don't show it, like, your circumstances don't show it, you have an inherent value.
Yes.
And there is a tapestry that's being woven just for you.
Just for you. And it's incredible and you're exactly right. That's why I attempt to give everyone the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
I think I wrote a piece not long ago that called "Fixing You Is Killing Me." Because when we think about it, that's exactly what happens when we try to fix another human being.
Totally. Yeah.
Right? Because we invest in their motives. Nobody knows then. People don't even know their own motives. How in the world can we know their motives? So that really, if we break down the word judgment, it simply means I've created a space where I know the motives of why you react about the things you do. So now I've invested my emotions in it because I've given a motive to it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, don't do that with humans. That doesn't even make sense. Bush, how could you know my motives? I don't even know them most of the time. So we give the benefit of the doubt when we stop trying to delve into people's motives. We really do.
That is
It's
wise.
an incredible place to live at, Jason. It really is.
Yeah.
And you don't have to own it.
No, that is very wise, because you're right. I was on a call the other day, one of these coffee chats, and I told the guy, I was like, you can't lie to me more than I lie to myself. And he was like, what? And I was like, it's true. Like, that's why you can't hurt me. Like, you don't know the times I've lied to myself about all sorts of stuff, only to find out later.
Yeah.
Like, oh, oops, I was lying to myself. Yeah, you're right. That is very freeing. It's a very freeing place to live. And it doesn't mean, to be sure, it doesn't mean that people aren't held to consequences. But it's a way, I think, a way of Ray Dalio puts it as hyper reality. So there's a way of dealing with hyper reality, which is, this is just reality. We don't have a different reality. And so let's stop making decisions about a reality that doesn't exist. Either it did or didn't happen. You did or didn't do the thing. Why you did or didn't do the thing, I don't know exactly. That's up to you. But it did or didn't need to get done. And allow that person within the midst of the within the midst of the boundaries and consequences if it doesn't get done. Allow them to make the change. Give them the latitude to make the change, because people don't want to change, and they're certainly not going to change in front of you.
Right.
Give them the space, because nobody wants to be
Obligated.
called out and be wrong, it's not like you didn't want to get, like, oh my God, Dad's spanking me again. That's nobody wants that experience from anybody. So give them the latitude, set the consequences and the boundaries and the expectations. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Deal with that reality and move on.
Right. Right. They may or may not, that may be the definition of why they may or may not be in your life. I explain it to people this way. I see Jason walking down the street with Joe's wife. You know what I mean? And I mean, they're cozy, their clothes, etc. Now, Jason shouldn't be walking down the street with Joe's wife, right?
Yeah.
I look at it. So observation says that's wrong. Jason shouldn't be doing that. But when I delve deeper and I start to try to infuse a motive around that, Jason is just a playboy, or Jason is this and that, and suddenly I've attached my emotion to that event. Now I'm mad at Jason because he's, you know what I mean, et cetera, et cetera. But I think I know what motivates him to do what he does wrong. I don't know that. But a real friend, I can go and say, Jason, I don't know what's up, bro. But we're tight. We got a relationship. I saw you guys. What's up with that? Maybe we can talk about that. Or maybe there's something else going on. And maybe Jason even says, none of your business, Frank. I respect that. So Jason would pay the consequences for it. Anyway, consequences happen. They're
Right.
gonna happen for the things, the decisions that we make. So I just don't want to walk around looking at people and trying to determine their motivations.
Right. No, that makes a lot of sense. And that circles back on what you said earlier, which is dishonesty stops the story, but truth we can deal with. We can deal with consequences. We can move on. We can deal with that, and we can make it through it. But the dishonesty part, just everything stops, and we don't know what the end of the story is because we're paused in the middle.
We are. Yep. A lot of times it's too painful to revisit.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least for us in the moment. So
right.
Our potential, I don't want to sound like I don't know, the guys that talk about potential so much, and that there's great value there. I'm not discounting.
There's a place for it.
Yeah, it's not.
But it's not the end. If we just live in a constant hype of potential, we risk continuing to go to conferences and never doing anything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not it's the road, but it's not the end. Right. So people they show up with so small a part of who they are. They don't show up as them. They don't. There's so many human beings that show up as who they are. And that's why people take note of me. Because I just show up me.
Right. It stands out. People know when somebody's showing up as them.
Yeah, they do. You know it intuitively. And very few people do that. So it just makes people go, whether I like this guy, don't like him, or somewhere in between, he's honest.
Right.
He's authentic. He's transparent. And what that does, that opens up the space for everyone else to be the same around you.
Right. I told that. Who was I talking to? Oh, last week I was talking to a guy on a coffee chat, and I told him that when we don't, also feel free to eat, because I'm eating my lunch.
I'm already eating, man. I'm good. Okay. Thank you.
I'm eating.
I wish I'd known you were grubbing though, because I kind of stuffed it down when we trying to get this call.
I know. I'm being authentically me and just eating in the middle of chatting.
Oh, cheers.
So I was talking to this guy and I said something to the effect of, like, it's one thing to feel like you're alone and not actually be alone. It's an entirely different thing to be in a relationship with people who by the nature of the relationship cause you to feel alone.
Mm.
Because that's confirmation that the thing that you were most afraid of, but you're alone. Yep. Everybody around here agrees you are alone. That's worse, far, far worse. And I think what I said and connected the dots on was this idea that when we are not our true selves, when we walk around with a mask, we're detached enough from other people that it causes them to feel like they can't be their true selves either. Which layers on. It's like the cake of alone also got the icing of you're also alone, and you can't actually show what's under here either. And then that causes this, I think, a downward spiral into further darkness and alone. And so I agree with you. Like our responsibility, it feels like, when you can be open, vulnerable in yourself and throw yourself out there, it encourages people in profound ways to be able to open up on their stuff. And there's so many people who are trapped in their brains just because they feel like they can't be that open, and they just can't be themselves.
What's their only alternative from that? Start comparing themselves to others, which is one of the most insane things to do. Simon Sinek says in his book, Start With Why, that there's only two ways to actually move humans. You either inspire them or you manipulate them. And I'm going to tell you, that's one of the most powerful statements for me that I've ever read. Because manipulation doesn't have to be so overt, the used car salesman, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
But there's a subtle manipulation in every relationship that lives without inspiration.
That is profound.
Yeah.
Wow. The knowledge bombs being passed back and forth here.
I know, right? We're having a great show here, man. We need to do a weekly Jason and Frank minute.
Right? Clearly, you've paid dearly for this as well.
Yes, indeed, my friend. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's true. Yeah. Inspire them or motivate them.
Inspire them or
manipulate them. Yeah.
Yep.
No, that is so true. Gosh darn it.
Yeah.
It's hard sometimes when people are going through circumstances. At least I know for me, sometimes it was hard to stay out of the manipulation zone. It's difficult.
Right. Yeah, because that's part of fixing people. How are you going to fix them? Yeah, they obviously can't see what's wrong with them themselves. So I'm going to have to navigate this thing to turn them around. I'll withhold my affection from them, or I will do things they don't like, or I instigate arguments. Any of the manipulative things that we find that are common to relationships.
Yeah.
We are so creative in manipulating.
Yeah.
We really are, because we don't think about it. It's sort of the human's default.
Well, I think a lot of it is not even directed. It's directed towards the other person in a way, but I think it's a masking of the thing that we don't want to see in ourselves. I don't want you to see it. And so I got to manipulate you around it or through it in some way. Absolutely. It's like the leader who blames the staff for something, when it was their own misguided judgment or something like that, or the relationship, like you were in, I'm sure you did your fair share of manipulation in that to not be seen as a person who's dishonest and, shouldn't be in that relationship, ship up or shape out, or shape up, ship out. There is,
However you said it, it was good. You're just so on point, you can't miss. What a great place to be, Jason. In a moment, baby. Let's roll.
I know, right? I know. I usually do. Well, what's also funny here, I usually do excerpts of these conversations, but honestly, I just want to take this whole conversation and just put the whole damn thing out there.
Mm.
Seriously.
Yeah. It'll be fun, man. We are getting along. There's just such a connection here. And I am, this is funnest podcast I've ever done since I've been out here. I have 3 podcasts scheduled this week.
Yeah.
A lot of people want to do these things with me these days. But yeah, there's just a likeness in it. And I appreciate you creating that environment.
Well, and I've done quite a bit of callus cutting over the past several years, and then a ton of it in the past couple months, and then a lot, like a maximum amount of effort emotionally in the past, I don't know, call it month and a half, 2 months, I don't know. And in doing so, one of the things I determined, and why I actually have these Coffee with Humans chats, was I will absolutely intentionally stick myself into other people's journeys. I'm just going to make it so stupid easy that all you got to do is click a link on a calendar. And I don't know, and the only rule is no sales calls. So, like, I don't know what's going to come of this. But then every day I wake up and go, okay. And personally, I wake up and go, okay, God, like, just for today, I just need to know that I'm on the path today. I don't know where the promised land's at, but I need to know I'm on the path today. And so if you could just give me some confirmation of that. And in the meantime, like, just bring something amazing of value. Cause I paid, like, and I'm very serious about it. Like, I paid dearly for this. This better be I paid dearly for my life. Let my life be used, in some way. Right. And then do it today. And I tell you, man, every single time, like last night I went to bed and I was not in a happy space. And I texted a friend. I was like, here's how I'm feeling. And I'm feeling sad and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, so I'm going to go to bed because I don't want to ruminate anymore. And then I woke up today. I was like, okay. And I did my Monday check-in with my LinkedIn folks, and where I started unpacking a little who I am and where I'm at and things I've learned from last week. And it's for me in part because I'm going to do it anyhow. But it's the discipline that's for me to put it out there. And then I know that it resonates with people. And like I told some, on some chat last week, is like, I'm going to put myself out there because there are other people who need to know it's okay to do that. And so, like, what does it cost me? What, you don't like me? You're going to take away my pride? Like, whatever. Like, there wasn't much left anyhow. So move, and that's why it was just like, okay, I'm going to do this and put it out there. And I just trust that something amazing is going to come of it. So this conversation, you have no idea how much of this conversation has resonated with me as both confirmation and hope. And specifically this idea, like, okay, well, today, what's today leading to? And how did you keep the hopefulness along the way to know that, at 63, you got 12 grandchildren and, and a car that was recently stolen, and you're still laughing about it.
You keep bringing it up. I may end up crying by the time this thing is over. Part of this happiness is denial, my friend.
It's the smile of denial.
Just smile through it, you know what I mean? So really, yeah. But car stolen, what? It makes you practice what you say you believe.
Yeah.
It really does. You say, well, I'm not stuck on stuff. Someone has a car. Chances are I'll get it back statistically within 6 weeks. Will it be drivable or usable?
It'll be in pieces.
Look at the perspective, though. What a better time to have a stolen car than during COVID.
When you don't need a car.
You don't need a car. Right?
Oh my God. So many ways to polish this turd.
Really? We have
True
another
though.
car and it's just sitting there. How about we don't need a car? I hardly go anywhere. My
That's
wife
funny.
doesn't go anywhere, so they're enjoying the ride.
Oh God. Oh, Frank. Who would have thought? I mean, who would have thought that from a lunch conversation in the downstairs of a pretty swanky, fun little place in Kansas City, to now? I mean,
I
that's
know.
a great connection, and yeah, I appreciate your energy and your knowledge and wisdom, and your openness and all of that stuff. However, you've made it to this point. It's it's useful. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so. 'Cause it's been a trip. Like we
Right.
used to say back in the day, my life is a trip, and I'm sure
Yeah.
most people's lives
Mm.
are. If anyone can get anything out of our conversation, at least from my perspective, Jason, is that Frank Sinclair is not special. He isn't. He wants to demonstrate a human being
Yeah.
who has found his space, found his place on this big planet, and is energized by that because I don't believe you were given any opportunity to be on Earth that you weren't going to get energy for. Once you find it, that's be one of the markers. You're so energetic. You're having so much
Yeah.
fun. You know what I mean? Because you're doing what you were meant to do.
Totally. I've got a vacation planned for this week. I have 6 of these coffee calls this week. I
Wow.
just let people schedule my calendar and I've got rules around it, and so it schedules itself. But then I blocked off my calendar from Wednesday through to the following Wednesday because I'm planning to go out of town. And it was funny, to your point. It's like I'm thinking about going out of town. I'm like, yeah, but I really just like these, like whatever's happening, in these connections that's giving me hope day to day, and people are finding valuable and useful. It's just like, why would I stop a day? Why would I do that? I don't know why I would do that. And I'm thinking, well, because probably it's probably useful for you to just take a rest, take a break, you know? And so I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll take Sunday off. I don't know. But I didn't. Somebody's scheduled on Sunday morning.
Did they?
I was like, great. That's my church. It'll be in the middle of a cabin talking to some person who needs to be talked with.
It's incredible, isn't it?
It is.
Even your eyes get bigger when you're talking about it. You can just
I'm
see
excited
a
about it.
change. Huh?
I'm excited.
I know.
Yeah.
You can see it, though.
I'm so excited.
It becomes a visible thing in a person's whole makeup when they are excited about where they are.
Yeah.
Does it get challenging? Of course it does. We're living human lives.
Right.
Right? We are.
Yeah.
So nothing you're going to do on Earth is not going to be challenging.
Yeah. It's meant to be
some
difficult.
degree at some point. But I tell you what, you can still. You and I both work for corporations that we dreaded putting one foot out of bed after the other every morning and going to. It wasn't our place. We can put all these things around it. Our boss sucked. The environment, the culture, and all those things may be true. At the end of the day, all those things can be repaired, and you'll still not feel at home.
Right.
Because it's not what you were put on earth to do.
Well. Yeah. So the path. So we can leave people with a path, because everybody's path can be a little different. The principles, let's say, of the path are: you have calluses built up on top of the living life that's in you, and there's an opportunity in your circumstances. There's an opportunity in the people around you. There's an opportunity within you and the person and the growth that you want to achieve to wear away those calluses. And you can cut them off quickly, or you can cut them off slowly. But you have to be willing to let things cut off to find yourself, find the real life in you. And when you find that life in you, your whole world changes.
Damn. Mic drop.
Well, that's the end. Bye, Frank.
Great summary.
Oh, Frank. Well, I want to keep us to our time.
Okay, buddy.
But there's an energy and a love I have for you. I knew it when I first met you, and I wanted to know your story. And I'm glad that we had opportunity to reconnect.
Me too. You know why? I'm gonna spread away another layer of honesty for you.
Tell me,
Jason. I met you. You're an incredible guy, but you were hiding when I first met you.
Was I?
Yeah, you were. You weren't out.
Oh.
There was a layer of something that was happening there that you did not want to expose. So
That's true.
You were hiding. Yeah. But that's okay. That's okay. We got a second chance.
That is so true. And I love you for saying that, because it's further confirmation that, like I told you before, I just need to know today. I don't know where the future goes.
Yeah.
I just need to know today. Am I on the right path?
There you go, buddy. Thank you for doing this,
Frankie. I really am so happy that you do what you do. I love seeing your talks out there for people. I love how your life and journey has taken you this far. I know that you do. And the dues that you have paid, you're paying them forward. So do you mind if I post the whole thing of this? I think it'd be fascinating.
Do what you do, my friend. If there's any way that I can help you in the future in any way, please reach out. You're doing a great thing, because the greatness of Jason Todd is being exposed to the world. I'm so excited about that, my friend.
I'm going to take those words and I will own them, even though I'm not sure how they're sitting right now.
Okay, fair enough.
Frank, I wish you the best of luck on your car.
Thanks, my friend.
Thank you, buddy.
Have a great day.
See you. Talk to you later.
Alrighty.
Hey, I'd love it if you'd join me. The only rule is no sales calls. It's just coffee with humans. Go to therealjtodd.com.